Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm here to do the folklore book tag. Okay, so this tag was created by the Bookish Cat, so I'll make sure to leave her video down below so you guys can go check it out. So this is obviously a tag surrounding the album of Folklore by Taylor Swift, and I will be the first to admit that I am not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I like her albums Fearless and Speak Now, and then I didn't really like anything else after that. But then I listened to Folklore because everyone was talking about it, and it seemed like something that I might possibly like, so I gave it a chance, and I'm actually like obsessed with it, which is really surprising. So I'm really excited to do this tag. So basically have a bunch of questions that are themed after each song on the album. So let's just get started. So the first question is a couple you don't agree with. So this one's gonna be a bit of a spoiler for the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. So if you don't want to know, maybe just skip over this part. So the couple that I went with for this one is Conrad and Belly from obviously the Summer I Turned Pretty series. So I really shipped Belly and Jeremiah together, and it looked like we were going in that direction where they were gonna get together, and then for some reason in the last book we like fully turned around and she went back to Conrad, and honestly I think Conrad is an ass. I don't remember exactly why I think that because it's been a long time since I've read this series and I'm honestly scared to reread it, but I just remember not liking him. I felt like he didn't treat her right or something. I honestly can't remember, but I just know that I do not like him, and I do not like him with Belly. And Jeremiah was a sweetheart and he deserved to be with Belly, and Belly deserved to be with him, and I don't understand what Jenny Han was thinking when she decided to put Belly with Conrad. I genuinely don't get it. So that is definitely a couple that I don't agree with, and I think this is one of the only times in a book series or in a book where the main character ended up with somebody in the love triangle that I didn't like. Normally it always goes the way I think it's gonna go, and this was the only time and I hated it. The next question is Cardigan, a book you loved but the ending disappointed you. And unfortunately I've been trying to plan this book take out for like over a week, I think, maybe even 2 weeks, and I just genuinely cannot think of a book that I loved the entire way through but the ending ruined it. I can't think of one. I'm sure there is one, but for some reason it's just not coming to mind at the moment. The next question is The Last Great American Dynasty, a villain you can't help but love. I was trying to be a bit more creative with this answer and think of a different villain, but I really couldn't. So I had to choose Queen Lavanna from the Lunar Chronicles series. I hate her, okay? She's awful. She is literally the worst human, but she's so like interesting, and I just love the way that Marissa Meyer crafted her character. I just love how Marissa Meyer put the evil queen from Snow White into this sci-fi futuristic world. I just love all the elements of it, like the fact that she can put up a glamour so people don't actually know what she looks like. She wears this like veil over her face all the time. I just think she's so interesting, and she's so like manipulative and like batshit crazy, honestly, but it's so interesting and fun to read about. So she's definitely a villain that I definitely hate, but I love to hate her. So the next question is Exile, your favorite hard-hitting contemporary. So for that I chose Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I talk about this book literally all of the time, so I'm sorry if you're tired of me talking about it, but this is a book all about our main character Claudia, and her best friend Monday has gone missing and nobody else seems to care or notice, and it's just like this really great like mystery type of book where she's trying to find Monday, and it's so sad and so heartbreaking, and it's really dark and scary, and it's a really hard book to read. So I definitely recommend going into it with caution, but I just loved it so much. It was so raw. I just think the writing was beautiful, and I really like for some reason connected with this book and loved it, and I remember being literally so heartbroken when I was reading it. But I definitely recommend it if you guys can handle the subject matter. It has been a couple years since I've read it, so I can't remember the specific like trigger warnings that are associated with this book, but I know definitely like abuse and murder and all the things like that. So if that's something that seems like it's going to trigger you, maybe avoid this one or just prepare yourself going into it, but it is definitely one of my favorite hard-hitting contemporaries. The next one is My Tears Ricochet, a character death that destroyed you. So this one's pretty funny, but it is Mateo and Rufus from They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So obviously going into this book, you know they're both gonna die, okay? It's what the whole book's about. It's in the title. You know that they're gonna die. So you think that you would like, you know, have the whole book to prepare yourself and come to terms with it. You know, you go into the book knowing that it's gonna happen, so it's not like any surprise element or whatever. But you know what, I've heard this from a lot of people, but even though you know that they're gonna die, you still hold out that like little sliver of hope that they're not gonna die, but they do, and it's so heartbreaking. I'm still not over it. Like I want to cry thinking about it, and I want to reread this book so badly. I think it's because even though you know they're gonna die, you still can't help but like fall in love with the characters and go along their journey with them, and so like no matter what, it's heartbreaking at the end. And then of course like the way that they die, you don't know that going into the book, and so seeing that happen made me sob like a baby, and I'm not over it. I want to reread it, but I'm also like, do I want to put myself through this kind of pain again? I don't know that I do. The next question is Mirrorball, a character that undergoes major character development. For this one, I chose Cress from The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. So she starts out being really shy and timid, and she's been locked away for forever, so she's like sheltered. She doesn't know the outside world. She's never seen Earth or anything like that. And by the end of the series, she's just like a little bit less of all of that, you know? She learns more, she becomes so strong, and she starts out the book fangirling over Thorn, and then she ends up with Thorn, and it's gorgeous, you know? It's like every fangirl's dream, you know? You fangirl over like a celebrity, and then, you know, you end up in love with them. It's everybody's dream, isn't it? It's my dream. It's not like the biggest character development I've ever seen, but it's definitely like one of the first that came to mind. Like, she becomes so much stronger throughout the course of this book and the next one, and I just, I love Cress so much. The next one is 7, your favorite childhood book. So typically for any question like this, I always gravitate towards The Wizard of Oz or Anne of Green Gables, but I wanted to be a little bit different this time and talk about a different book. So I just went with Junie B. Jones by Barbara Park, specifically Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine. This one was always one of my favorites, probably because I've always been obsessed with love and always like a hopeless romantic, and so this one's obviously like about Valentine's Day, so I was like, yes, this is where it's at. I reread it this year. You guys can check out my rereading childhood favorites video to see me reread these books, but Junie B. Jones was always my favorite book series growing up. Just something about Junie B. Jones and how like cute and spunky she was, and how she was so different from everybody else. I really loved her, and I really admire her and look up to her still as a 20-year-old. She's just such a cutie pie and such a joy to read about, so this was definitely one of my favorites growing up. And then we have August, your favorite summertime read. So for this one, I went with a bit of a newer favorite book, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is an adult romance book. So we follow these two writers over the summer. They are in neighboring beach houses, and they're both suffering from writer's block. So to try to conquer their writer's block, they decide to swap genres for the summer and try to write in the other person's genre. So our character Augustus ends up writing a romance, and our character January ends up writing a literary fiction. And it's such a cute book. Like, it's literally so cute, and it literally takes place on a beach, so it's the perfect summer book, and I loved it so much. Like, look at all these tabs. I also have a reading vlog where I read this one. I'll link up above. It's my romance reading vlog, and I really adored this book. It was so cute and so like summery. I don't know, it just gave me all the good vibes, and so I definitely recommend this one. It was a lot of fun. The next one is This Is Me Trying, a book that always pulls me out of a slump. So for this one, I went with Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. So this one is such like an easy and quick read. It's like one of my favorites. Whenever I'm feeling stuck or I'm feeling like sad or whatever, this one is always just such an easy book to pick up, to just kind of bridge that gap, read something that is easy and fun in terms of like the writing style is easy to read through and all of that. Sometimes I even read this book like multiple times a year because it's just that good and easy to get through. So this one's definitely like one that I recommend you guys pick up if you're in a reading slump, and one that I definitely gravitate towards when I'm in a reading slump. The next one is Illicit Affairs, your favorite guilty pleasure read. So for this one, I chose the entire Soul Screamers series by Rachel Vincent. This is a young adult paranormal supernatural series, and it is so good. It was my like favorite thing in the entire world when I was like 12-13. I reread it again in 2018, and I still loved it. Like, I'm literally in love with this series, and I keep thinking about it recently, and I want to reread it, but I think I'm gonna wait till next year just because I have so many other things that I need to get to. It's a 7-book series. It's just so much fun, and these characters are just so lovable, and I get so invested in all of their like drama. It's just such like an interesting series. I don't think I've read anything else that's like it, and I really enjoy like my paranormal urban fantasy type of books. It might not be like the best thing in the world. It's a little bit trashy, but I love it. I love it so much. I recommend you guys read it if you like paranormal books. I just think it's a lot of fun. The next question is Invisible String, your book boyfriend girlfriend. So for that, I chose Clark from The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. So Clark is an adorable writer, and he's a love interest in this book, and I am just absolutely obsessed with him. I feel like whenever people ask me who my book boyfriend is, it's almost always gonna be Clark. He's just such a cutie pie. He's so sweet, and like, I don't know, I love him. The next question is Mad Woman, your favorite strong female protagonist. So for that, I went with Feyre from ACOTAR. I think Feyre was like strong from the beginning, but she just gets so much stronger by the end, and she learns to overcome so many things. She ends up going through something pretty traumatic and hard at the end of this book. So like pretty much all throughout ACOMAF, she's dealing with some bad PTSD, but she ends up coming out of it so much stronger than before, and like rebuilding her life and rebuilding herself. I just think she's beautiful. I reread the series this year, and I just absolutely adored it. I think Feyre is amazing, and I really love her, and I think she's definitely a strong female protagonist. The next one is Epiphany, a character that has overcome a lot. So for that, I chose Augie from Wonder together. Obviously, he has gone through a lot. He has a facial deformity, and so his entire life he's had to go through all of these different surgeries to make sure that he can breathe properly and hear properly and all of these different things. So he's had to go through all of that, and he hasn't been able to go to public school because of it. And so like he's kind of been like isolated and like homeschooled his entire life, and people are like scared of him when he goes out into public. Like other kids will scream or cry when they see him, which is just so heartbreaking. I want to cry. Oh, I love Augie. And then he goes to public school for the first time for 5th grade, and he ends up being bullied and like backstabbed by friends. It's so sad, but he overcomes it all. He literally has been dealt like a shitty hand, gone through all of these things, and he still comes out being this like shining bright little star, and I love him so much. Is it sad that a 10-year-old fictional character is my idol? I don't know, but he is. The next one is Betty, a character that deserved better. So for that I chose Mason from the Vampire Academy series. So Mason goes through something in this book that's pretty damn heartbreaking, and he was definitely like one of my favorite characters, and I wish that we got like more of him. He was definitely one of my favorite characters, and I was so sad when this thing happened to him because I love him. I love him so much. He's just like a funny character, and he worked with like Rose so well. They were best friends. I low-key shipped them. I did kind of ship them together, even though we love Dimitri, but you know, I shipped her with Mason, and I loved him. So I definitely think that Richelle Mead did him a little dirty, and he deserved better, but like it had to happen. What happened had to happen. I understand why it happened. I just wish that it didn't have to happen. You know? The next question is piece your favorite fictional couple and bonus points if they've gone through a lot together. So I chose another Richelle Mead book. I went with Adrian and Sydney from Bloodlines. I adore them so much, okay? Like in Vampire Academy, I also kind of shipped Rose with Adrian for a little while, but him and Sydney, I don't know what it is about them. I need to reread this series to like really find out why I love them so much, but they were just so cute, and they did go through a lot together. I can't remember a lot of the things, but like they went through a lot of stuff together. I think that the chemistry was there, and they just worked really well together, and I just love how Sydney, who is an alchemist, you know, like her whole profession is about like not liking vampires, and then she ends up falling in love with a vampire, and I can't. I love it. I love it so much. And the last question is hoax, a fictional breakup that destroyed you. So there are spoilers for What If It's Us in this question, so if you don't want to know, skip past it. But Arthur and Ben from What If It's Us with Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. So I shipped them so hard throughout this entire book. I thought they were so like awkward and like cute, and they like didn't have like a perfect relationship, but I loved how they found each other, and then they got together, and it was like all these little things that they had to overcome to be together, and it was so adorable. And then they break up at the end, and it's so sad. And it wasn't what I was expecting. Like going into this book, you're like, okay, are we gonna get like a Becky Albertalli happy ending, or are we gonna get like an Adam Silvera like sad heartbreaking ending? And you know what? We got like a mix of both. They really merged their like styles together, and it's like a bittersweet ending because I like how it ended, but I'm also like, but I want Arthur and Ben to be together, you know? But I'm pretty sure that they're writing a sequel to this book right now, so fingers crossed that they get back together because I need more Arthur and Ben, okay? I do. They were so good together. I'm so sad that they broke up. That was the folklore book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below what your favorite song off folklore is. I think mine is Betty and The Last Great American Dynasty, maybe. I think those two are my favorite, but I think Betty right now is my favorite. Subscribe if you have not yet already, and I'll see you guys next time.